Hi everybody, this is an HP laptop and this model is a Pavilion G7, and one of the things it has a problem with is a cracked cover that's causing problems with the monitor, but also this thing is really dirty. So you can sort of see, turn this around, you can kind of see inside there where the processor fan is. This thing is just loaded up with dust and debris. So the first thing I'm going to do is give this thing a good cleaning so we can get that dust and debris out of it, and that'll help a lot with the system performance. So let's get started. So in order to access that fan, I'm gonna have to pull all these screws out around the cover. Take the battery out also. And like is typical with some of these laptops, there's actually some screws that are hidden underneath the battery. And I'm also going to remove the screws that hold on the cover for the RAM and the hard drive. Oh boy. Look at all that dust already. This thing is just loaded with dust and dirt all over it. Man. This thing is filthy. And I'm going to carefully flip this over so I can get all the screws out of it. Alright, pretty cool. So let's see if we can get this thing opened up. Some of these HP laptops, actually, you have to unscrew the keyboard from underneath. And I think this model is the kind where these screws here, plus, it looks like this one right here is also for the keyboard, and you can see that with the little picture of a keyboard next to the screw. So, I'm gonna make sure I get all these out, and this screw right over here has a picture of a little CD on it, so that's gonna be what holds in the CD tray. Should be able to pull this one screw out. Yep. Okay, so, there's the CD drive out of the way. Even dust coming out of that. Man, look at that. That is dirty. Come on now. Oh boy. Sometimes these are just stubborn buggers. There we go. Gotta work at it. Alright. Here's the keyboard screw. It's actually a little bit different than the CD screw. That keyboard screw on the right is actually a little bit taller than the CD screw on the left. Now let's see if we can get that keyboard out. Looks like all the other holes have no screws in them. Just doing a quick double check. Yep, it appears to be. Also, you gotta look in here where the CD tray came out and just make sure there's no screws in there. It looks like it's good. I'm also gonna pull out this hard drive because there's really nothing holding it down. It just sets in place and the cover holds it. Come on. There we go. Man, this thing is really dirty too. There we go. It's a little bit hard to see it, but there is actually a little tray in here that you can get under. There we go. There's 4 clips that hold this thing in. Okay. This is actually a really big keyboard for a laptop. Okay, very cool. Man, look at all this dirt and dust. Oof. Actually, that looks like it might be mold growing on that ribbon cable. Whatever. Pop up the keeper, pull it out. can set this aside also. Ooh, boy, look at all that dirt. This is nasty. So I actually missed 2 screws. There's one hiding in here. Really have to be careful to check all over these laptops to make sure you get all the screws. There's another one down in here. Okay, cool. So now that should be good enough. Oh, wait a minute. I also have to remove this Wi-Fi card because it looks like that is attached to the motherboard on this side. Well, I'll leave it in there for now. And let's try to remove this cover. Almost. No, there's still definitely something else holding this down. Right there. There's a screw right there. Is that it? There we go. Well, there's these 2 ribbon cables right here. One for the mouse pad and one for the buttons. So, I'm just going to flip these little doors up. Pull each cable out. And there's also one up here for the power button. Okay. Ooh, this thing really is losing some weight, doesn't want to stay up. Okay. Oh man, look at that. Usually I don't really get too bothered by all the dust and dirt in these computers, but man, this one's really bad. Let's set that aside for cleaning. And now we'll take a look at what's left. There's all that dirt and gunk stuck inside the cooling fan. There's the keyboard input, the 2 mouse inputs, and the power switch input. And then this ribbon cable runs over to the USB ports. Pretty cool. Even all over this monitor is just covered with dirt and dust now from taking this thing apart. So here's all the parts we got. Shouldn't be too bad. We'll just have to take it outside and blow all the dust and dirt out of it. So I was going to stop here and just blow it out, but I really want to get to the underside of this motherboard so that I can thoroughly clean out around the fan and the heatsink at the processor. So to do that, I'm going to have to take a few more steps so I can get the entire motherboard out of this laptop. I'm going to start out by flipping it over and removing that Wi-Fi card. And there's just 1 screw plus the 2 antenna cables that have to come off. And I'm also going to take out the RAM. To do that, there's just 2 little clips. You just push the one to the side and the other one, and then the whole RAM chip will pop up. It's a little bit tricky to grab this. And I'm also going to disconnect the hard drive cable. It's pretty easy to do. There's a little black plastic tab. Just have to grab it and pull up on it. It'll disconnect the hard drive adapter from the motherboard. And now this monitor is really the heaviest part, so I want to disconnect this also. Plus, while I'm in here, I want to see if I can figure out what's going on with this broken part of the screen. Now, in order to remove the screen, there's 2 screws down here that mount this side of the lid, and 2 more over here that mount this side of the lid. Plus, I have to remove the Wi-Fi antenna wires and the main cable to the display board. So I'm going to start over here and disconnect these cables that go to this daughter board so I can get the Wi-Fi cables out. And then I could just lift the Wi-Fi cables out of the way. And then for the monitor cable, it's another black plastic tab. You just pull up and remove the connector. And then there's a little hook that the wire goes around where it has to be taken off of. Now I can take out the screws and remove the screen. And the monitor can be placed out of the way. So there's not much left, basically just the motherboard and the bottom cover, along with the 2 speakers, a daughter board, and a cable for the DVD burner. These wires are already disconnected, so the only thing we have to do to remove the motherboard is take off the speaker wires, the DVD cable, just have to pull that up, and then one more screw on the board, and then you can carefully lift up on the motherboard and wiggle the connectors out of the frame. Whoops, look like we got one little cable there needs to come off. Evidently pulling on the wires works. I just pulled the wires on the speaker cable and it came right out. Not the right way to do it, but sometimes you learn by mistake. Okay, so there's the motherboard. And yeah, I'm glad I took this out of there because look at that nasty. Yeah, this thing needs a really good cleaning. And probably gonna need a new battery. This thing looks like it's been in there for 9 years. I don't know. I'll have to measure it, see if it works or not. So, what do I see on this board? Everything kind of looks okay. It's really dirty, a lot of dust, so that's gonna make it run warm. But right here, this chip, whatever that is, looks like it's probably the display chip, being as how it's so close to the display adapter. It's really brown in that whole area. So I'm thinking that that could be part of the problem with the display flickering. Because of all the heat buildup right there, it's probably causing the display processor to stop working properly. It's only a guess, but you know, discoloration and brownness on computer boards like this usually don't mean good things. So, gonna have to see what happens. Maybe if it gets all cleaned up and the heat sink and the fan are working well, maybe that'll help. Actually, it'll probably help a lot operationally. So, yeah. Alright, cool. There it is. Basically all torn apart now. So I can take it out and blow it with some shop air and get it all cleaned up and put back together. Now I'm going to try and go after the broken lid on this monitor, see what's going on in there. So let's take this apart. It's actually a little plastic sticker. It's covering up a screw, which actually fell out, so that screw wasn't really doing anything in there. And there it is. Now we can pull out the one remaining Phillips head. Oh, it's not even tight. Makes you wonder. Come on. There we go. There's that one. And to get this off, it should just be little plastic clips. Got to carefully pop this up all along the screen. Just want to be careful not to break them. It sounds like they're breaking. Almost. There we go. Now I can take this little bezel trim off. And this is what's making all that noise. These little plastic clips just run all the way around the screen. All the way around this bezel. So anyway, put this aside to a safe location. And looks like we got something here that's loose. Yeah, that frame is all loose. Will that even come out? It will not. Okay, so I think I'm going to go ahead and pull the screen out all the way because I really want to find out what's going on here with this broken corner. It's just a little piece of trim. One screw there, which is hardly even turned in at all. Now we have the frame screws. Do I even have to take that out? Yeah, I guess I do because it's hooked in right there. So I think the screen has to be taken out first, and then the hinge can come off. Although, let me see if I can't just get this. Oh, here it is. It's up top. All the rest of these hinge screws off. I think the whole hinge assembly and monitor can come out all as one unit. No, I'm wrong. Wait a minute. That's how it goes. Okay, it slides into the bottom and hooks into place. Well, let's get the monitor cable out because I'm not removing the screen well, as long as that's installed. It's all just weaved in and out of these little plastic clips here. Okay. Now, this actually looks all right. I don't see any damage on this end of the cable. But there's definitely a flicker in the screen itself while it's operating. So I don't know. And this is also what I wanted to check, was right here, this connector, because when this was operating, the screen would flicker occasionally. So I don't know if it's due to heat on the motherboard or if it was this connection on the back of the screen. It could be some damage in this lower corner from when obviously the laptop was dropped at some point, and that's why this cover is cracked. So it could be some damage down in this area. Maybe something here is a little bit loose. And it doesn't actually look like it though. Looks to be pretty good shape. That looks okay, that looks okay. The cable looks all right. So I'm gonna say that the flickering problem was probably due to the motherboard being overheated and obviously full of dust and then not able to dissipate heat. So I'm going to put this whole thing back together after I just clean up these hinges, a little bit of dust on there, and start reassembling the laptop. now we're at the very end. Just the back cover and the battery to put on. So, just tuck this down. Sometimes these can be stubborn. Okay. All right, and there we have it. A cleaned and restored HP Pavilion G7 laptop. Pretty cool. Well, if you have any questions or any comments, post them below. And thanks for watching. And if you like my videos, please subscribe.